What about now? Can you hear me now? Hi, YouTube. Hi, can you guys hear me? All right, we'll just wait to see if they can validate the audio. Sorry for the delay. Okay. All right, can you hear me now? Okay. All right, now we got that sorted out. We have everyone on board. All right, guys. So listen, if you guys didn't hear me early on at the open on YouTube and on X, what I opened with was saying that on Friday we closed at the high. My focus has been on the 7,600 rejection. So let's just walk through really quickly how we got here. On June 1st, we made an all-time high of 76.32 quarter, right? Since then, the market looked above and failed, okay? And that was on the June 15th. June 15th, we had to look above and fail. June 22nd, we put in our first high, and 7,600 acted as resistance. Then we tested it on July 2nd, it acted as resistance again. And then on July 6th, it acted as resistance again. Now on Friday, we had the breakout, right? We had the grinding type action higher. And what I was telling our people, our members in the pit, is that now this move has to be validated, right? So now we need to see the market form higher, accept higher prices, accept higher value, right? Because prices often will traverse outside of value, but we need to have that move validated with time. So today our focus is, okay, so does the breakout above 7,600 get validated? And I think that's what we're going to, that's what my focus is going to be on today. You can see here that in the overnight session, we gapped down, we went up, we tested 76.15 again. And since then, we've just been chopping around below 7,600. I'm less concerned with how 7,600 is acting just right now, as I am with, the fact that we are, if we go to the hourly, we can see that we have kind of like another bull flag structure here forming out. Let me just get in a little bit more granular and look at the 2 hour. So you can see that we're validating the move over here. We have higher prices. Let me just make sure I have the extended hours on. Okay. Yeah, so we can see here, right, on the 2 hour chart, that we are above this distribution here at 75.65, 75.75. And the market, just because it's gapping down, we're not going to get overly bearish with it, although that is something that we need to pay attention to. Let's focus on 7,600 and whether the market can build acceptance above that level, or does it continue to act as resistance. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus in on the overnight low, 75.66. My focus on the downside is going to be 75.50 to 75.60. If the market gets down there, does that act as resistance? Do sellers get absorbed? If it's just simply a liquidation break from the rally that we saw late Friday afternoon, where those late buyers are getting liquidated, the inventory is being reset, and being that the overnight inventory is coming in net short, if we do get a move down to 75 to the overnight low, 75.66, below 75.50, and we get through there with strength and momentum, that's going to be a big tell. I think that's the level that I'm going to be looking to trade as a breakdown short, because that would signal to me that we have a rejection from yesterday's value area, and that the breakout is not being validated. Right now, the one thing that I'm going to focus in on once we do get down there is that the move should go fast, right? So if these Friday buyers are going to be liquidated, it should move hot and heavy. It should move really quickly through that zone. We should not see prices starting to wick. We should not see prices starting to stall out there. Again, even if we do get lower prices, But with the overnight inventory being short, you would expect that overnight inventory to be corrected. So at some point there will probably be a rally. Now on the up, let's go to the 15-minute time frame, and let's build out our most bullish scenario. We'll talk about our most bearish scenario, and then we'll talk about the trap trades. And to do that, I'm going to build out the two 15-minute charts so we can focus in on those potential scenarios. Respect the process and stick to it. All right, so let's talk about the most bullish scenario. I mean, it's pretty simple, guys. We have the overnight high at 76.15, right? If the market can breach this high that it made at 76.0503 here, if we can get a breakout above here, right, and any pullback, any retracement of that move, those sellers are absorbed, then we're going to be targeting the overnight high at 76.15, and then ultimately a move maybe even to the settlement at 76.22. That would validate the bullish breakout from Friday, and at that point, I think it's on to the races. We might get that type of grindy higher price action. Okay, so remember that it may not be a thrusty move. It may materialize more over time, much like we saw a lot of these rallies last week. All right, so that's the most bullish scenario. Talk about the most bearish scenario, and for that, we'll switch over to the right-hand chart. Okay, pretty simple, right? Right now, we are in Friday's value area. Value area low from Friday comes in at 75.81. That's going to be our first tell. You can see here that on this recent dip here, price kind of found support, and now it's moving back up. We have a higher low relative to our regular trading hours low at the overnight low, 75.66. All bullish price action. The gap down is there, so that's going to need to be validated. But in the most bearish scenario, we'll just see price break, right? And it should break high and heavy. It should get below value area low. It should get below 75.81. And also it should get down to the to the overnight low, which is 75.66. Now, mind you, if we do get down there, that's a 30-point drop, right? So we're gonna have to gauge that really carefully, right? Because we don't, if we're looking in here, hang on, we don't have much structure in this zone here, right? There's not really anything that can tell us that can validate or invalidate that low, right? So we're gonna have to watch it really carefully, because in our most bearish scenario, we're breaking down lower, we're getting below the overnight low, and then any retracement that forms in here, any local high, that's what we're going to focus in on to see if that move gets rejected and takes us down to yesterday's low at 75.52. If we're moving hot and heavy, if ES is selling, if it's liquidating, it should break fast, so the tell should be fairly straightforward there. All right, let's move back to the left-hand chart. Let's talk about the bullish trap trade. So the bullish trap trade has us testing up into the overnight zone, testing value area high from Friday, 76.15, 76.17 being value area high, overnight high being 76.15. All right, if we get into that zone, guys, and we started seeing a rejection where we start putting in lower highs and that area starts to act as resistance, we're going to know, hey, listen, this market may not be as weak, as strong as we thought. And we're going to look for short scalps to get us back down to that 76. So let's see, 76. Let me just make sure I frame it correctly. 76.05. Yeah, 76.05 area. Again, if it gets down to 76.05 and it stalls out, we'll know, hey, listen, when the ES sells, it should be a quick move. If we should get through there quickly. Not saying that this is not worth a scalp. It probably is, but we'll monitor that as it develops. Again, and then the bearish trap trade, which is one of my favorites, right, has us breaking down maybe below the overnight low. And at that point, we'll see price get down there really quickly and then suddenly either V drop or V correct, or it'll just start, every push lower. Maybe we make a marginal low or we make that inverted head and shoulders, but ultimately we reclaim overnight low, 75.66, and then start working our way higher. At that point, we're looking for longs. All right, so that builds out the four scenarios. Let's take a look at what our opening print is, and we'll get get underway here. Let me get a quick screenshot. I always like to review these at the end of the day. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Let me know how your weekend went. All right, so we're opening up, and let's just get our opening print here. Okay, our opening print seems to be 75, 95, 50. 5 points below 7,600. And already we can see that the market is grinding higher, right? Look at this. We're going up higher. We're going to test that opening range high. We're going to test that 76.05 here shortly. Let's see if the bulls are back in charge, right? Remember, guys, keep in mind, we have overnight inventory that's net short, right? So we have two things to monitor, right? It does that liquidation of that overnight inventory get us to that breakout, right? The market likes to seek liquidity. It moves on liquidity. And if that is enough fuel to get us over 76.05, to get us over 76.15, that's going to be the easy trade. At that point, we're just stalking pullbacks. We're looking for good entries, getting in close to our risk marker, and then looking for follow through. Again, if we get up to the settlement, that's going to be a big tell for us, right? Settlement for Friday was 76.22. If we get there, and of course we know, right? We know how the ES operates. We know that once we get to settlement, there's going to be a 1 or 2 point trade, a 2 point fade. That will also signify a true gap fill. So if we get there and we fill the gap and price retraces, nominally 5 or 10 points from 76.22, maybe it even goes back and tests overnight high at 76.15, and that starts to hold us support, meaning we start to see wicks on the 5 minute, we start to see wicks on the 15 minute, and that starts to hold us support. That's going to be our entry, guys, for the old classic look above the overnight high and pull back to it and get long for the follow through. All right, so let's see what we got. Thus far, we're above that 76.05. I bought that breakout. Let's see if we get some follow through. Really, really big print here. Again, we're going to be cautious though, right? We're going to be cautious at here because we know that we're running into that overnight high up there at 76.15. So just be cautious, okay? Again, I'm looking at the internals. Okay, so let's get a quick early read of our internals. Let's see. NYSE is 1.7 to 1 positive. The NASDAQ is negative right now, and it doesn't look as strong as the Russell ES. Okay, so yeah, it's really early. We're 3 minutes into a Monday morning, right? No need to get excited about anything just yet. But let's give this a few minutes to settle out. 76.0975 is our current high. And that's 76.0975. There were 6 contracts traded there. That's not typically what we want to see on a bullish move. We want to see good follow through. We want to see 120, maybe even 70 or 80 contracts. But we want to see that there was somebody up there, that there was somebody willing to pay up at those higher prices. So far, we're not seeing that. But maybe we just have a little liquidation break here. Let's follow it. I've got some 76.04 50s long. I'm not looking to let them get below 75.99. Excuse me. Long weekend of screaming at kids. Long weekend. Yeah, so I've got some 76.04 50s. Let me see. Let me get that condo on this chart. Just looking for some follow through here. I don't want them to get below 99s. Let's see if we can get some bullish follow through. Again, this play is really just a momentum play. I'm looking for follow through. I'm looking for that overnight inventory to be reset. And I just want to participate in that move. Let's see if we can get up to the overnight high. Again, as we get closer to 9:45, 10 o'clock, at that point, I'm going to start understanding that I'm going to be looking that there will be that there could be a counter trend pivot coming into 1030. And so I want to be flattening up or at least scaling out of that time. Again, watching the structure though, because if I'm expecting this to be back tested, 7603 to let's say 7600, right? I want to see if my average is above there, and currently it's not, right? So I would be exiting that and I'd just be looking to reload on another pullback. Pretty simple. Again, today's pattern is bullish though. So let's see if we can get a good opening drive higher. You know, the most bullish scenario gets us above the overnight high, gets us above settlement. And if that transpires, you know, makes the day an easier day where we just get long, we're buying dips, we're buying pullbacks, we're scaling. And we can then start looking at the all-time high, 76. I think the after the rollover, the all-time high was 76.48. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Happy to answer anything. Already, you can see on the 5-minute, right? We're starting to wick here. We're starting to wick, but I have a hard time believing that gap doesn't fill at some point, right? I think that if this move is going to fade, they'd probably drive it up there, right? Fill that gap, and then decisions will be made up there. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Often am. Let's see what our ticks are doing. Okay, our ticks are just you know, they're flat. They're just in the middle here, not really giving us much information. Hey, heads up though. Here's something to pay attention to. The VIX is gapping up about 7%, which it could be. That could be the overnight move. Sorry, the weekend move. All right, I'm out of that trade right there. I didn't like how we wicked and we pulled back so quickly. I'd rather reload it down there at 7,600, maybe 7,601. I think I lost a point or two. Willing to jump back in. Just trying to stay fluid on a Monday morning. I don't want to commit to anything. I don't like the way we came through on that follow through, how we tested up there and we could not breach it, right? There was nobody home up there. Again, circling back to what I said earlier about 7609.75, which is our current high, right? There are only 16 contracts traded there, right? That's not what I want to see. I want to see good follow through. I want to see that somebody was home and somebody was willing to pay up there, and we got a really good taper. 7609.75 is 16 contracts. 7609.50, 185 contracts. And then we go 3 digits down to 7608.50. You know, I want to see 4 digits. I want to see thousands of contracts traded up there in order for me to think that there's going to be some follow through. So maybe the market just needs to pull back here, and find some new buyers. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it plays out. All right, get back up to that 7605, and we're testing that area. Kind of petering out here. I wanted to see it go. My trade was based, I think I lost a point or two, but my trade idea was based on the overnight inventory liquidation break, those overnight traders being liquidated. So I wanted to see an open drive, right? That's what I was looking for. I didn't get it. I just cut it. I think I lost a point. I think I lost a point and a quarter that's what I saw on my screen when I clicked close. Not going to overthink it. That's just the cost of doing business. It was a momentum play, right? And then lost momentum. We wicked twice on a 5-minute, right? What's that going to look like on a 15? Well, it's not going to look very good. All right, you can see, yeah, here, look, we're coming back in. Okay, let's see what happens at 7,600. There should be somebody home there. Nope, nobody home. They're coming in hot and heavy, guys. All right, if we break below 75.92, if we break below 75.85, I think at that point I'm stalking retracements. I'm looking for that AM low. Let me know how you guys see it. Let me know how you're trading it. Let me know if you see it any differently also, because I might be missing something. But we should get. Yeah. Let me just take a look at this. Yep, look at this. Let me just zoom this out. Yeah, I don't like the way those look at all. You can get my strategies right here. Yeah, look, we're kind of, let me get the MACD to print a little bit bigger so I can see it a little bit better. I like that. I like a MACD as an oscillator. This is a custom MACD that I got with the next gen software. It's cool. I like it. It's definitely it'll calculate on every tick, or it will calculate based on the close of the bar. So when you have it set to close on every bar, every tick, you kind of get that really, really fresh information. All right, look at that. We found some support again. We came down. We tested the open, right? So look, guys, we tested that 24-hour VWAP at 75.95. And we tested the opening print. So now we gauge the reaction that happened there, right? That we bounced up to what, 7,600? Did that resist? Was that our resistance point? So now I'm looking at the order flow. I want to see, basically, are we going to see some more absorption on a retest of the open, or are we going to just drive right through it, right? I always find it easier to read a weak market, because weak markets, especially the ES, they tend to break really fast. And if you're going to short them, you can almost jump. You can almost, once the move starts to really, see how we went down, we came down to 75.98. Now we're bouncing back up, right? That's not a very weak market yet. That's a market that's telling us, hey, we're either going to do one of two things. We're either going to find footing. Those sellers are being absorbed. Those sellers that took us from 76.09 down to 75.95, those sellers are now being absorbed, right? Because we know that when the market sells, it's going to sell really quick and fast, right? We should get followed through. You should almost be able to have to chase it in a certain sense, because it's just moving so quickly. And when you're right about it, and you do say, for lack of a better term, I'll frame it as chasing it, but it's really not. It's just getting the best price, because we know that it moves very quickly, right? So you're getting in on that trade, and you're monitoring, and it should go fast. You're going to know if you're wrong right away. So if you get into it and say that you sold 7,600 there, right? and you're expecting some follow through, right? Here we go. Now we're back to the open, right? Now we're coming back down into it. Those buyers were only able to get it up to 76.01. Okay, now what's happening? Now they're coming back. So this is our third test. Let's take a look at it on the tick chart, right? It shows a little bit more cleanly. All right. So look, we have 3 tests of 75.95. That's our opening print. And that's also, if I'm correct, that is also yesterday's. Is that yesterday's value area? Hang on, let me check. No, at least not on my stuff. Let me see. Let me just check. No, I have value area low of 75.81. All right. Yeah. So here, team. You know, we should right now. Look again. We're back down to testing it, and what's happening? Every push lower has been absorbed, and so now we're gauging it. Right. There's no trade here yet. We're still looking. Hey, we know that when the ES breaks, it breaks hot and heavy. It should be cutting through. This is our third test of it. Can the sellers break through? This is not an area where we want to execute. We want to trade the breakout of this balance area, right? So now if we get below, let's say they come back down and they test it again. Because if you try to, and say that you even sold that break, right, at 7,600, you already know. So perhaps you're taking a 1 or 2 point loss. That's the cost of doing business. That's a quick out. That's a small loss in terms of ES. And you just paid from some information. You tried to sell it on the secondary break. Say you tried to sell it and you got short in here at let's see, what is this? Say you got short on this print right here. So 75.95. I'm gonna say I got short 75.96, right? I just chased it, I just hit it. Right. But immediately, if it comes back in on you and you see it trades right through your price, get out. You know, just get out. So say you take a couple of points loss. Why do you get out? Don't sit there and think about it, because we know that when the ES breaks, it breaks fast. You should be, it's a ROR trade. You're right or right out. RORO. Right or right out. So kind of like the way I've managed that momentum long I was trying to get in on. Let's see. Here we go. We're wicking again, right? Every drive lower now. Every drive lower seems to find absorption. And so we're not just monitoring that absorption, we're also monitoring, hey, how high? So we came down and we tested 75.95. How high did they get it? Well, so far they got it up to 7,600. Is that really bullish? Not really, right? Because if we're really bullish, then we're going to see we should see some follow through. We should be getting, you know, our next print in about 2 minutes should be somewhere up here, right? So let's monitor it. We're about 18 minutes into the trade. Let's be cautious. Let's make sure we execute a trade that makes a lot of sense, that follows a logic chain. So far, we're just monitoring. We're gaining information. We're paying for information. If you took a small loss, so be it. I took a small loss. It's not the end of the world. It's trading. Here we go, absorption again. Now, here we go, back to 7,600, right? Can they drive it through, or are they going to get rejected again? Let somebody else's money figure it out. Plus, if you want to try to execute along here, you're going to have to accept that if you do get out on a move back through your fill, you either do that or you follow the structure. So right now, you'd be executing 7,600 long. Your stop's got to be 76, 75, 90, 92, right? You got to put it down here somewhere. Now here's a trick, right? Look, we just printed a 5-minute wick, and now what happens next? Are we going to eat? If we get into that wick too far down, you can expect the move to come down here and test the bottom. I think that's what the market's seeking to do here. I think it wants to trade a little bit lower. Remember that last week we also saw a lot of the early move fade, right? So whether the market rallied in the morning, that move tended to fade towards the end of the day. If the market broke in the morning, that dip got bought. So I wonder if that continues. If you're aggressive traders are anticipating this break here, right? So they're looking for a break of 75.93. Their stop is up here by 76.02, right? You're looking for that break. You don't want to let it get too far away from you, but if you're in at 75.97, you're risking what, 4 points, and you don't have to risk it all on the entire position, because all you have to do is say, hey, if it gets through my price, then I'm out. So let me know if that makes sense to y'all. And let me know if you have any questions on that. I am one of those aggressive traders that sold 75.95. I'm 96, 95. I think I sold 97s and 95s. Just looking for some follow through here, because like it was this wick. Let me see. Hang on. Let me just manage this. This wick. It's that wick trick trade. Oh man. I'm just full of them today. Just full of the corny acronyms. $75.95. $75.94.50 seeks $89.50 and $84.50. If I can get down there. Let me see, what account number is this? 148. Yeah, I peeled that off. So I had two. I took the first one off. I had 97 and then I had 94.50 or yeah, 94.50. So my average is 95. I took the 97 off. I still have the 95. I'm watching the delta here closely. I'm not willing to add that back just yet. We got too many wicks. Yeah, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm okay with that. We got below the 93s. I'm looking for an AM low. It just didn't materialize. Let me go back here and check. 75.95. 36.18. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See if it can get above 7,600 here. So far, look, we have all these wicks down at the lows. So every probe lower has not been met with any type of selling, right? Quick outs if you try it, right? Just get out. Don't stick around. And also reference your trade plan, right? What does your trade plan gives you an idea of what you might want to do here? And your trade plan doesn't necessarily have to be written. It can be, your trade plan could be what your next trade is going to be. But as long as you have a plan and you're kind of framing it out, right? So I tried the long up here, right? Because I thought we were going to have the breakout and an opening drive type look. We did not get that, right? So then I tried the short on the break to see if we can get the liquidation break, looking for that AM low. We did not get that. So now I'm standing fast and I'm waiting for more information, because what the market has been telling me here is that, look, we've probed lower, nobody home. We probed higher, nobody home. We have wicks on each side of this opening range, right? So we have the opening range high, wicks. Opening range low, wicks. What is that telling us? This is a directionless open. The onus is on the bears here, though, to prove it, right? They're the ones that have to prove it. And we have not seen them perform here at all. So now the shift becomes, like as I do all the time, I'm going back to my trade plan and I'm waiting for a particular setup from my trade plan. Wow, look at this 15-minute. We have a 15-minute hammer followed by a 15-minute inverted hammer followed by a hammer. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying either one of those trades. This is not a look, right? So when I go back and I'm going to review, I'm just mentally going over what I've done. I'm always doing that, probably a little bit too much. But our inverted hammer, right? Like, so how often do you see an inverted hammer followed by a hammer on an open? Not very often. And if you got trapped in that, like I did, hey, so be it. That's part of trading, right? That's not a common look, right? So if we opened with a first 15-minute candle that had, let's see, that had a 15-point range, and somewhere in there you were trying the long, that's not a bad idea. At some point, we know the ES likes to trap, right? So what? So it trapped. But there's nothing wrong with trying either side of that. Again, it just goes back to what's in your trade plan. Again, and so let's review this a little bit better, because the higher time frame comes into play here. And one thing I want to stress, and I probably, I'm probably thinking about this a little bit too late, right? I should probably been a little bit more cautious at the open, and I'll tell you why. 7,600 was a big deal. We know that, right? We saw the early analysis. I framed it out how the higher time frame was basically excuse me. All right, here's what we discussed on the higher time frame. Right, so the market came and tested 7,600 how many times? Right, so we had the initial 7,600 test, right, way back here. June 1st, it traded above. CS has such a good memory. Be cautious on this breakout here, guys. This thing could fade all the way back to the lows. That kind of open. So here's what I want to stress about where my focus should have been this morning was that whenever the ES comes into like these higher time frame levels, right? Because there is so much, I couldn't take the high there either, right? So again, whenever the ES comes to these higher time frame levels, guys, unless it goes quickly, like unless it's right through it, right? We zoom right through it. It's straight up. No, it holds no prisoners. It's the kind of move that you might miss. Look at this, right back down. So we have to be careful here because it'll tend to negotiate or trap or try to attract as much liquidity as it can in the hopes of trapping traders, of gaining more liquidity, more fuel for the eventual move. So there's no way it's futile to try to predict that move. And that was look at that. Did we want to tick that high, guys? Let's just take a look. Oh, this is just terrible structure. Look at that. We just went up there. 3 tick the high. Yeah, I'm hands off for this. Let this shit sort itself out before I get involved here. So, okay. So let me just go back to this 7,600 idea or lesson. Let's see. Look, now it's back testing 7603, just traded 75.97 on that dip, hit the 9-period moving average, found another support, moving higher, right? Chop City, guys, be careful. Yeah, look, 338 contracts at 7602.75, right? They hit them 338 times and it came off. So that just got absorbed. Guys, so 7602.75, 808 contracts hit the offer and they couldn't bust through. Watching it closely here. Hang tight. Back down to the low side. Know what your trade plan has for you. All right. Friday closed above 7,600. Today we're back below it. So now the market has one question to answer. Was Friday a real breakout or is it a trap? Trading above a level and belonging above it are two completely different things. And we know that 7,600 has rejected several times, right? So they definitely have eyes on that level. On Friday, buyers finally reclaimed it and closed above it. And that matters, right? That matters to every technical analysis. I'm not the only person that was looking at 7,600. Look at how many times we tested it and faded from it, right? But But if that close does not prove acceptance, right? The nefarious market dealers or market makers, right? Let's just call them that for now. Or maybe they drove price up there to trap, and so that they could find the liquidity to sell into. We don't know that yet. So what we're looking for as traders, our job is to monitor acceptance. Acceptance is everything. Acceptance means buyers continue doing business above that level. They defend pullbacks and they build higher value. Right now, that proof is incomplete. You know, price can test above 7,600, but acceptance is going to tell us whether price belongs there or not. And this is why I'm less I am not interested in participating in anything. I've tried 2 trades already. None have panned out. None have worked out. And what did I gain from that? From those? Well, I paid for some information, and that information to me reads, hey, there's a lot of chicanery going on here at this level. There is a lot of trapping going on, and I don't want to get caught up in that because I know that the better trade is on the other side of this. So all I have to do is wait. I have to be patient. Let me just watch it. You know, we can't ask the market for confirmation and then ignore the clues if that fails to confirm or does confirm. I've been cautious all week around 7,600. Then Friday closed above it. That forced me to respect the bullish case again. I wrote about it this weekend on Substack. If you want, you can go check that out. It's at Manny Trends. That forced me to respect the bullish case again. But a thesis is not something that I build out so that I could defend it forever. I'm not looking to defend that thesis. It should include, that whether price and what happens today supports it, and whether price is validating the move. Watching us move lower here. We're on the precipice of a bearish engulfing on a 15-minute. So I'm just watching that closely here. So I always want to include in every thesis, on a higher time frame, thesis, I have what price supports it and where I am wrong. And I wrote about it this weekend. I said, look, if this move validates today, if we build higher acceptance, if we close back above 7,600, it validates the move. So now for this early morning session, I don't want to participate in here any longer in an opening range that has been what? We are in an open range of 20 points at a key higher time frame level. So this is how they trap people. This is how traders, can fail their evaluation, and they could be one trade away from passing, or they could be, one trade away from hitting that payout. And you get caught in a morning like this, you get frustrated, you get hot under the collar, and suddenly, you're giving back a lot of hard-earned gains. Wait for a better read. Wait for a better market. Friday gave the buyers what they needed. Today is testing. Can they keep it? Can they hold the ball? Right now, the market's testing those Friday buyers. The level isn't under pressure. The traders who bought it are. Right? Because think about it. If you got long Friday, right? Say you got long, let's just zoom out to a 15-minute. Look, we just back below VWAP, tested the open again and bounced again. There's a lot of chicanery going on. There's a lot of trapping. I don't want any part of it. Look, on a 2-hour chart, we're printing a doji at the level. Careful, guys. Be careful. what's going to happen to those Friday buyers if price can't reclaim and hold the level? Well, those buyers are going to be hot under the collar. They're going to want to cover, and they're going to embolden the sellers. Those sellers are going to regain confidence. That is how the resistance can briefly become support and then become resistance again. All we need to do is have our outline, have our thesis, and know where we're wrong. But more importantly, know what conditions require more information. There's nothing wrong with being, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. I've been wrong twice today. But that information, that I don't want to stay wrong. And I also don't want to keep fighting the market, right? It told me that this is going to be, that this can be a potentially, that this area is not done. We have sellers trying to get it below 7,600, buyers absorbing. And remember, even if we do get a break here, right? What is the market doing? It's building value. It is building value up here. That's something we have to be aware of, okay? It is building value. So let me just go back to what I'm looking for here. Another 15-minute wick. This is a 15-minute chart here, guys, on the upper right. Just like a higher time frame read. And so thus far we had the down move in the overnight session, right? So we traded down, rallied, failed, broke, right? Came back up, made a higher low. And thus far in the regular trading hour session, we're putting in a higher low relative to that overnight higher low. So if you're following that, if you're just following that logic chain, then what we really have here is a market that's likely to break higher. Okay, so with that being said, right, what do I need to get long? Well, I can treat this two ways. Let me just walk it through. So I can treat this 75.85 low. I can treat that as a trap, and I can treat this as a trap level. So maybe we come down here, we test, and then we absorb and we move higher. Or maybe that happens down here. We test, maybe we even go a little bit lower, but ultimately we absorb and we move higher. Right? Then I want to get long on this break right in here. Okay, that's one way to get long on a dip. I want to get long on that break right in there. Or I can treat the top side as a continuation long, right? Look at the early Globex high, which is where we failed just now, 76. Let's frame it out as 76.10 to 76.15. Okay, if we get up there, This is 76.05. If we can get up, well, you know what? Let me frame the bullish case in a different color, so as to not get the two confused. We'll frame the bullish case in blue. So we already know that, oh, that looks too much like my candle. $76.05 to 70. Oh, wait, let me just take that top one off. Okay. We know the 76.10, 76.05. So far, all but we have had 45 minutes of closes above that 76.05. So if we get up, right, when we come back and retrace and this holds in here, then I can look for a long trade to get me up to the settlement up here and the gap fill at about 76.18. Whoa, was there news? News drop, heads up, heads up, heads up. Be careful down here, guys. There's got to be some news. Renee, check the feed. That's our 10 a.m. Is that our 10 a.m. low? Guys, we're moving lower here. I'm scalping it long. I'm scalping it short. I haven't done anything yet. Nope, we're right back up. Nope, I'm not touching it. Hands off. Hands off. Yep, look at that. No way. Be careful in here, man. Be careful. This is going to be like an afternoon trade day for me. Again, follow your trade plan. See what your trade plan tells you. It's looking a lot like our AM low down there, 75.73. What was my support? Okay. Still got a 5 minute. Yeah, not much really there. Trump will reimburse. Oh, how generous. How generous are we? What does he care? It's not his money. Hey guys, you feeling generous today? We're donating to reimburse 20% on the cargo through the Strait of Hormuz. I didn't realize how generous I woke up this morning. Oh, tariff. That's a tariff on 20% of cargo value. Well, I'm still not going to get a piece of that either. So at least I'm not going to pay for it in taxes. Yeah, I'm stalking it here. I see that. I think it's going to move higher. I think they're going to see this as bullish. This market wants to go higher. Always does. I think they need to call they need to call Trump, like, what did they call John Gotti? The Teflon Don? I grew up in New York City, and I grew up in a very mob-controlled town. So I'm full of like mafia statements and mafia acronyms. Goodfellas was actually, there was a portion of Goodfellas filmed in my neighborhood. This is volatile. This is volatile. Thank God I thought it's hard to validate the move here, right? Because every push lower gets absorbed and we just move higher, but it won't break out higher. It'll probably be a good trade this afternoon. Can't tell you how many times like it just pays to sit out these opens, these first hours on a Monday, with political, just tons of political news coming out. That's who knows how the market's going to digest this move. Let me see. No, I like it long. I cannot take a short now into a low pivot. Too late for that. And it's always a tough read when S1 day is on the weekend. When we didn't have trade data for S1 day. I think that's probably the low though, to be honest with you. What is that? 75, 73, 50. Yeah. That's probably it for the day. I don't know, we'll see. Looks like it to me. This is that zone where the bulls been buying. 75, 85, 75, 95 around the open. Yesterday's mid. Friday's mid. I just don't have a solid level here. I can, the reclaim of this 85, maybe see if we get, I don't know, maybe I can get long, right? I'm going to float a bid out at 86.50 for one contract. Test the thesis. I'm okay if I lose 5 points on that one contract. I don't want to, but I probably won't retest. What is this low here? Let me look at the profile. Okay, so yeah, I can probably get like 86.50. Nope, 87. All right, it's going without me. It'll come back down though. I don't think today's the day where we're gonna get like these explosive moves. I could be wrong though, but I'm willing to miss it if it goes. Low there. At least I didn't sell it. Right? That's a plus. Did you guys catch this low? Anybody buy this? Please tell me somebody bought it. Yeah, it's back up. It's testing at 76. Not enough. Easy money. Got it. All right, I like that, bud. That's cool. That's awesome. Good for you. I'm glad somebody caught it. Long from 02? Nice. Nice. Yeah, track it. Yeah, it's that 26, 29, 6, 7. It's like 670, 680. No, 70. Just call it what? 675, 700. What is that? 700. Yeah, 660. Okay, 660 area. I don't watch it that closely. You're probably right. I'm probably, 60 to 700. That's 40 points. Man, that NQ moves though. I always tell myself that when that I need to add that. Yeah, it's so wide, but I think that it would, like, I think that to add alpha, to add NQ, on a choppy day, if you had a good scalp strategy, if you had good enough levels, and I have the timing on it. I know that. I've got a timing model for it. NQ, yeah, it's great for scalping, right? Right, it's got to be. And honestly, in all honesty, like, so personally, I beat myself up about it because I just haven't done the work, right? I have to put it up on a chart. I have to begin to watch it. I always tell myself, if I'd been watching NQ, because in my opinion, I probably would need to watch it for like a month or two before I felt like I'd have a good understanding for how it moves. Yeah, aren't they all? And then I tell myself that, like, I always go back to this idea that I always think that more trading is not the answer. Size up on the ES and trade less. So because with every position that I open, I incur more risk. I lower my win rate. So if that's the thinking, then I should not entertain more trading, especially on an instrument like NQ. Clip that. I don't know. How do you guys see it? You got UNQ traders. Like, I know how Jay Morrock points out, right? I like that. It's great for bulling account. Hard to do anything here right now. Yeah, I haven't, like I told you. And I'm fighting also like the 7,600 level. We're building value. It's choppy. I'd rather, like I said, I still would rather do the long idea above 7,605 to 7,610. But I don't have now we just expanded the range to what? Let's see. So now we're at 37-point range. What if, I'm asking myself, what if we just spent the whole day chopping around 7,600, and because there's just not enough liquidity to break us out? Am I going to get chopped up in that? Am I going to give back a bunch of Friday gains, a bunch of last week's gains? I want to do that. I'm looking for pullbacks now, though. See if I can get one. If you're long, I hope we don't get one. I hope we don't get a pullback if you're long. But for me personally, I hope we're getting one. Hey, heads up! I coached. I got to coach my daughter, my oldest daughter, this weekend at a tournament, at a scouting tournament with this scouting coach that I know from many years ago, and we had tons of fun. We picked up another ring. We won another ring. So let me just show it to you. We won another ring, and So she's my oldest, and she's the one that's getting, yeah, thanks. She's the one that's getting recruited now, and I haven't. I've been focusing on baseball. My little one, she plays fast pitch, and I haven't coached her since she was in 12U. So it was pretty fun to circle back and to be on the field with her again, one last time before she hits the big leagues. See if I had my wife take a ton of good pictures for us for nostalgia purposes. Oh, I have one here. Hang on a second. I shared it in G-Chat. See if that pastes. So the reason why I brought up the coaching my daughter this weekend is because I was throwing batting. I was warming her and her friend and her team up, throwing batting practice warm up, and these girls are 14 and 15, and they can hit, and they let me just watch this here. 75, 91, 50, 75, 91 would get my attention. And so the reason why I bring it up is because we have safety nets, right? I'm pitching to them at probably like 10 or 15 feet away. And the exit velo on them is probably like 80, 90 miles an hour. It's coming back at me. And so there's this little window where I can pitch the ball through. And one of her teammates hit it right through and caught me right in my bad knee. So I have a knee immobilizer on. Going to see the doctor again today for my I get a cortisone shot once every like 60 or 90 days, because I was a catcher and I had a basketball injury. So I've had my knee scoped 4 times and I had surgery on it once. It's basically bone on bone now. Don't get old. Take care of your joints. Exercise and walk. Walking is so underrated. So that's how my weekend went. How did your weekend go? I'm going to turn on my PTG ATAs to see if I can get a trade in today. I haven't gotten anything since those early two. I think I'm down like 6-7 points for the day. Look at this, back down to fading, guys. Who's gonna win this battle? All right, 10:35. I'm long some futures in here. I've got one at 93.50. What is this? I'm wrong. Oh, man, I'm wrong below 89.50. I don't know about this. What are the ticks doing? Oh man, we have mixed internals. Yeah, I don't like this. I took that off at 91.50. Wait, I might put it back on here. Hang on, let me watch this order flow. Where's the delta? Where are the ticks? We're in low ticks, guys. We have a lower high, low. We have a look above, fail, lower high, lower high, lower high. God dang it. You gotta lean long, you gotta lean higher time frame. 93.25, 1. Look at the wad. Yeah, I'll try the short if we're still chopping around here, like in an hour. But I can't trade short yet. I'm staying long focused into these wicks. I have 93.25. I have one contract, guys. Just testing just probing it, seeing how it acts. No, 10:39. We're gonna get a new candle print here shortly. I get a good feel for watching the order flow, and I also get a feel for like when it's chop. Yeah, I'm out. I took it off again. I don't like it. I'm okay with taking the small losses until I nail something. I just don't like it now. This was my out right here, 89.50. Let's see if it holds. Man, I'm having a shit morning. My knees all banged up from the weekend. Oh man, look at the 15-minute, guys. Was the 786 contract order on the bid at 75.84? Oh man, when was that? Hang on, let me pay attention to this. Oh, 10:42. Hang on. I don't know. I already tried this twice, right? Like, how many times am I going to try this? I'd rather just chill. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I'm not gonna keep trying this at this stupid level. I just don't feel good about it. My read is definitely off this morning. I should have been fading them at the edges. And it's only Monday too, right? So plenty of time here. Oh shit. This thing's moving down, guys. Yeah, it'd be great to have hindsight. I got a bunch of nicks this morning, man. Nothing to write home about yet. I mean, it's only 10:45 though, right? So still plenty of time in the day. Let me see. What did I try here? I tried the long here. I shouldn't have done that twice. That's one to grow on right there. And that's one to grow on. But then I tried to break out on the opening drive. That failed. I tried I below 82s, below 92s, I tried to short. That failed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not terribly upset with any of that. I'm trying to catch the directional move out of the balance area. That's the that's the one right there. But I should have I could have been more cautious about. I can only trade long here. Gosh, can I try this again? Fuck it, no guts, no glory. No guts, no glory, guys. No guts, no glories. Until my read gets right, like my max position today is 2. Until I can get the read right. And then there's going to be something in the afternoon. There always is. Let's see if they can reclaim these 91s here. Internals are still mixed. Russell's weak. Russell's back in its range. I grabbed some 86s there on the no guts, no glory call. So I've got 86.75 average on 2. Let me see. Dang, I've got to get oil on a tighter time frame. Let's see if I can get this fill here, guys. I'm like batting. I'm like 0 for 4. I'm 0 for 5. I think 0 for 4. I don't like to count my losses anyway. So you guys count for me. I don't think anybody much cares anyhow. So I got 86.75. I'm looking for 93.75 on the first one. That's right out of the way. No, I got to lower that. 86.70. Oh, wait, it's coming in pretty good here. I'm going to take 92.75 on the first. Got it. Got it. Plus 6 on the first. Got the 6. Woohoo. I got 6 on that first one, team. So, yeah. Big crouch here on that. 6 points on the day. I was down. Most important thing, I think the best thing I did this morning was just after that. So that first trade, I did 2. And then everything after that, I think I went up to 2 on one more, though. For sure. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, baby. I'm looking for 98. And then the next one after that is my runner. I'm being really, really, really careful with this because honestly, this account this trade in this account will pay me out. I'm gonna switch to my pit bulls after this. I've only got the ad left, team. So you can see my average went up to 75.88. Hopefully I can hold these until, I don't know, mid-morning. Coming right back in on me. Tightening up, moving to break even. That kind of day. It'd be nice to like get a nice move higher. Nope. Break even on the last. Oh shit. That actually reversed me short. I gotta wiggle out of this. God damn it. I went to go exit the order and I got reversed into a short. One contract on I went to instead of close, I clicked buy, sell, and I sold one. What is the thing gonna do? Is this gonna be a happy mistake? They never are. All right, let me get back to this. I just exited. How are you guys doing today? Anybody winning out there? Good job. Good, Terry. Good for you. Yeah, our levels were pretty wide this morning, so Been trying to just get something on the fly. It's been tough. It has not been easy. I prefer to be long here though, just because if I mean, this could still materialize into a rejection of 7,600, but the fact that we're still hanging around up here. Yeah, good. Well, if you did good during Europe, make sure you don't give it all back in the US session. But I had I think I was down like net like 8 points, not maybe 9 points. I'm not going to look at that on the Monday morning. But I got +6 on that first, and then break even on the next, and then I did made that mistake. I got short, and then I'm still looking to trade long here. I'm gonna see if I can get some of the stick here. I did grab one here at 91, and then I added another just now at 93.25. So my average is 93. I'm looking for 98 on the first. See if I can get it. Have to go to the little boys' room. Man, look at this. So here's what I just noticed, guys. Excuse me, guys and gals. Look at this structure, right? And is this the type of structure that I want to be trading in? That's the type of structure where I want to have a lot of trades. Absolutely not. So after this, I'm going to obviously have to stick with this one, right? I can't let afterthoughts get me out, but I'm going to definitely dial it back after this. Meaning take a long break. This is definitely not the look at these wicks, look at these bodies, right? I mean, I don't know. I guess what's going for this is that we have, let's see if we get this 98 target for 5 points. Got it. Plus 5 points on that one. It's like a home run today right there. It's like knocking it out of the park. It's been such a bad morning in terms of just getting punched on. Getting gobsmacked, but got that one. So that's a plus. Happy about that. All right, let's see if I can get 10 points on it. Offered at 76.03 quarter. Let me check the chat. The chats. Maybe another short. I think I answered that. I had to stay long-minded here. Oil. I was short for that news. Good job. Tough against bots. Real tough. Yeah, no, it's like, guys, you see, like, I haven't had shit this morning. I haven't done anything to speak of. And we're in a what? A 37-point range. And we're an hour and a half in. Delphine did good on the European Open. Manny, are we going into a bull time calculator? Yeah. So you can hear it, Sniper. That's why I've been focused on. I mentioned earlier I couldn't get short. I could not get short. I don't trade against my execution clock. Well, let me fix that, because there are some scenarios where where you're going to see a high pivot and you're going to see me trading against it, but there's a nuance to that, right? So let me just break it. Let me just explain that. So sometimes, let's see if I can grab this. I gotta fix this thing. So it'll be up here, right? Nope. What about up here? What about up here? So let me just discuss that. So sometimes if I'm expecting a high pivot, let's just put it up here. High. God, I suck with this thing. David's so good at this pen. It looks like I wrote it with. I'm righty. It looks like I wrote it with my left foot. Gotta tighten this up here. Is this another lower high? Shit, I'm not waiting around. Hang on. So say that so sometimes if I'm expecting a high pivot, say at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2 o'clock. These sticks though. I got taken out. Break even on 1. See if that's the little wick. Hang on, I'm going to, I'll teach a nuance about the clock in a moment. Let me just monitor this trade. God, I have to use the bathroom really badly too. So looking for 5 and then 10. And then see if I can catch the overnight high at up here. Oh man, I just deleted that data. That is 92.50 and I'm at 92.50. So the reason why I'm really dialed in on this, guys, is here. Look at what we have, right? The initial drive, right? The 3 tick high, then lower high, lower high, lower high. So I'm staying on alert for that. Yep, look at that. I was right. It's going to do the lower high here. Ooh, almost got nicked on that one. Did I get saved? By textbook stop placement. Let's see. Took one off for -1. All right, team, I've got to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. So be it. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm back. This thing is just stuck. How many chances has this thing had to go higher, right? What's the NASDAQ doing? What's the Russell? They're just dropping too. All right, I'm done. I'm giving this thing how many chances? I'm gonna sit here banging my head against my keyboard like yeah, right, Philly D. Philly D says, what a shit market. Couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. It's just a balanced day. After 7,600 breakout, it'll probably rip later on, right? Yep. I just closed out. Oh boy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. So anyway, I was asked this weekend, I was asked this weekend on social media, I was asked, hey, what is over trading for you? Well, you guys are seeing it live right now. I went from up a couple of bucks to now down 225. Like that's the kind of day it is. I'm not touching that one again because that's the account that I'm like it's so close to getting paid on, so I don't want to touch it. And I just got a juicy payout on Friday and Thursday and Friday. I don't want to touch that. What time is it? Okay, 11:14. All right, so listen, let me go circling back to the clock, right? Let me just cover that. So say that I'm expecting a high pivot, okay? I feel like I have dyslexia or autism. So say I'm expecting a high, and I'm coming from a low. Just use those. So I came down here, and and the expectation is that I'm going to have a high pivot at said time. Someone might say, hey, Manny, why are you selling it if you're expecting a high pivot? So that means that I'm selling as I'm expecting price to roll over, right? I'm expecting the price to do this. And it's a clock nuance, right? So if it depends on what the higher, like what your levels are. Remember, price is everything. We always use price first to guide our moves, to guide our decisions. And then I'm using the clock. And if I had to weight those two, I am 75% price, 25% time. And so you might see me selling into a high pivot with the hope that, hey, this might be, let me go back and erase this. So what I'm looking for at that time is, say I'm looking at the price structure, and I might be selling in here somewhere because I think that I came from a low and I might be expecting a lower high. Or price is telling me that, hey, like today, like we just saw today, right? I've been trying to get long first into a high pivot, but we've been going lower high, lower high, lower high. And I set it up here, I thought, oh, this could be the lower high. But I was still willing to try that long because I think that ultimately we drive higher than 7,600, and I like this for the low of the day. However, now with this structure, right, at my next time-based pivot, I am going to be looking at very closely at where these highs are and where is price relative to those highs. So it's not as simple as, hey, you're expecting first it's price and then what the expectation is. So you might want to be selling into a high pivot, into an expected high pivot, or you might want to be long into that high pivot, depending on what price is telling us. So if price is telling us that we are in an uptrend, then a rule of thumb is that I want to try to be long the low pivot or against the low pivot, and I want to be trading into that high pivot. Does that make sense? I hope it does. This is another thing about the clock is and I know I've been promising a workshop on it. We had one scheduled for the 19th, and then I had to go out of town. And I want to let everyone know that I'm very cognizant of that. I haven't done it, and I feel super irresponsible for not doing it. But the reason why I was just talking to David about it on Friday, is that I want to schedule it. But look, this coming next week. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I think I'm only in town, like out of the 21 days, I'm only in town like 10 days. So on Tuesday, I leave to Tennessee. And then after Tennessee, I'm going to Texas. And then after Texas, I have to go back to Georgia. So let me see, when am I leaving to Tennessee? I think that's Wednesday. Yeah. So I leave Thursday. So Wednesday will be my last trading day. I'll leave to Tennessee on Thursday. That's this week. Then next week, sorry. On Wednesday, I leave to Texas on Thursday. And then next week, I have to leave on Tuesday to Tennessee. And then that takes us into the last week of July. And that week I don't go anywhere. And then the first full week of August 3rd to the 7th, I'm in Daytona on Friday. So I'll be Monday through Thursday. Maybe I can do it that day. Because I was discussing this with David on Friday. We jumped on the call. No, I don't live in Georgia. My daughter's doing these showcase tournaments, and then I have 3 kids that play sports, and then we're like all over the South, right? We try to chase down the best competition, and even though Tampa's a youth sports hotbed, often we get good enough that we can't find good competition around here, so we want to go get the good competition. So we go, and you're gonna find that in Texas, you're going to find that in Georgia, Southern Georgia. You're going to find that in, Tennessee. So Tennessee's big for fast pitch softball. So that's pretty much been, especially since my 14-year-old is being, she's being actively looked at. We want to go play at the tournaments. Like I didn't do this last summer. I think I only went away 3 times last summer. We want to go where the scouts are going to be. So the scouts, they have these big tournaments where like the best kids in the nation go play. And like typically we wouldn't go if there wasn't a shot. I'm not going to go travel all the way to Tennessee if my kid has no shot, right? Like that's just dumb and it's a big letdown. But if she's, we've been called and asked to come play at those tournaments, and that's why we played this weekend. So we have to go. And I don't want my kid to go and play. I want her to go to a school that for life after sports. So she's right now she wants to go division. Everything's in our community. Everything's about going to D1. My nephew just went. My nephew got recruited for D2. My nephew just won Rookie of the Year for D2 for his conference in D2, and he was recruited D1. But he went to a D2 school because that school had a great engineering program, and that's what I want him to do. I want my daughter to go to a school that sets her, like, if softball wants to pay for some of it, if baseball wants to pay for some of it, fine, that's fine. But we have to start setting them up for life after sports. And so the idea is forget about D1. Let's go to a good school that has a program for you for at least a good undergrad. Have them go to the best school they can with the best scholarship. Yeah, that's right. Yep, absolutely. Yep, that's. My wife did the same thing. I didn't. My neighbor is a super smart. He went to Harvard. He graduated Harvard on a crew. He went to Harvard on a crew scholarship. I mean, so if we can get some money for undergrad through softball, and that sets her up for life after it. Yeah. He's Indian. He's super smart, super bright, and not a typical. He's really strong. It's like really big. He's an athlete. So another girl that we know in our community, I know her dad really well. She got recruited Division I, Alabama. She played at Alabama. She played softball at Alabama. And it was great, right? So she got her undergrad in 3 years, and then she transferred and went to BC for her postgrad, and she set herself up for after softball. So that's the idea. That's what I'm trying to convince my daughter to start thinking about after softball. I mean, you can't even go. I mean, they just now have a pro league in softball. Like and let me just tell you something. I know a lot of guys. I have 3 uncles that played in the minors. I know a ton of people who played in the minors. You do not want to live playing minor league baseball. That is just no life. You're living out of a suitcase. You're eating ramen, and you're living out of your bag stinks, and then all of a sudden you have to come back home and figure life out. It's not a good way to live. It's fun until like your second year of college. I mean, but then if the kid wants to do it, let them do it. Oh, look at this. Back down to the low. It's 11:25, guys. 11:25. I hope that lesson for the clock made sense. We got another lower high here forming. Are we going to break lower? It looks like it. I just lost 2 on that one. This shit morning. I'm glad I've kept everything small though. Let me see where I'm at. Always monitor those losses, like know what your trigger is, right? Know at what threat. So I was asked this weekend on social media, what is over trading? And I said, and I answered it for any, for a scalper, over trading could be 80 trades. I don't know, 130 trades. Who knows? For a position day trader, that could be 2 trades. I think that over trading is more relative to what your internal temperature is. So if you are trading and you lose your cool, like you're no longer trying to execute a thesis and you're just, you're throwing haymakers to try to make it back, that's over trading. You've lost all composure. You're not thinking clearly. You're just guessing. That's over trading. At least that's the way I see it. My neighbor, he's a pretty smart guy. This was us this weekend. That's my daughter on first. Trying to explain to her that you're gonna win or lose the net. If she's trying to steal, you're gonna win or lose that base on your first step. And now everything I coach her on, I'm telling you, hey, if you're gonna get this bag, you're gonna get it on your first step. Everything is an eye roll. She rolls her eyes at everything. Yeah, that's me there. Yeah, she rolls her eyes at everything. I mean, I remember like 2 years ago, this little girl used to hang on my every word. And now everything I tell her, it's like, oh, I know I'm doing it. Stop talking to me. You're not talking to me. Stop talking to me. You're not talking to me. Yeah. It's so funny. So you guys want to hear funny story? So I'm coaching her, right? I'm texting my wife from like first base, and I'm telling my wife to go talk to her in the dugout. I'm like, can you tell her this? Oh man. Well, at least I still have my son. He still listens. She's using her. So you want to, when you're pushing. So first off, you can't have your foot off the bag into the field, and she has her power leg to push off the bag. It's going to give her a better jump. So she can't take her lead. You can't lead in fast pitch until the ball crosses the plane of the plate. So you want to have your power leg on the bag to push off the bag and try to win it on that first step. When the ball crosses the plane, you want to be already, elbows to pockets on your first move. It's a lot different than coaching baseball. Right. So, when I'm coaching leads in baseball, this shit didn't work either. When I'm coaching leads in baseball, it's, we always, if you're a righty, right? Assuming everyone's pretty much more people are righties. If you're a righty, right? You're typically your strong leg is your right leg. So you'd think if you're on first base, I'm going to lead with my right foot. But that's exactly the wrong way to do it. What you should be doing if you're a righty is you should be leading off with your left foot. So your left foot, because in baseball, you can take a lead before as the pitcher comes set. So once the pitcher comes set, you can lead anytime you want. It's not like fast pitch, because fast pitch is only 60 feet away from the bases. So you can't lead there until the ball crosses the plane of the plate. So in baseball, you want to lead off with your left leg. So it'd look awkward, but you'd be crossing over this way. You'd be crossing your left leg over your right leg, because if the pitcher goes back to pick you off, you can push off with your right leg and get back to the base. Whereas if you let off with your right leg, your weight is going to be suboptimal. But you only want, you want it in baseball. It's a primary lead and a secondary lead. So you want to take your primary as, even before the pitcher comes set. And once the pitcher comes set, then you want to go into that secondary. Get low in your legs and then watch his, if it's a righty pitcher, you want to be focused on his right heel, the right heel of his foot, because he can't try to pick you off unless that right foot comes. If he tries to throw while his foot's on the rubber, it's a balk. So his right foot has to come off the rubber, and if you see that right heel come off the rubber, you just get back. So that's how I coach that. I teach them to focus on the pitcher's right heel. One of her friends hit me with, like, I don't know. I think that she was a pretty good hitter. She hit me square in the knee, my bad knee. I have this knee immobilizer on. I gotta go to the doctor later. All right. This shit is not going anywhere. It's 11:30. I'm gonna give this about, let me see, 8 more minutes. I still think it's going to break out. Yeah, I throw BP to the girls also. So that's easier than baseball, though. I'll tell you that much, because it's windmill pitching, so there's no stress on my shoulder. But when I throw batting practice to my son's team, I have a bucket of balls and there's 70 balls in there, and I'll throw, I'll throw 7 buckets to get through the whole team. And so do the math on that, right? That's like 500 pitches. I'm capped at 2 batting practices per week. I can't do more than that. If not, I'll get shoulder soreness. I love it though. The kids got such good energy. Yeah, there's always somebody out there that, it's a really great community of, a lot of people try to help out and they get involved. And, a lot of these kids, a lot of the kids that come out of our area are pretty good, because a lot of, dads and moms, teen mom, and everybody really gets involved. We're always taking a kid, off the team to a game and stuff. And so when there's good support in the community, kids get better like that. And look, the barrier to entry for baseball and softball, the amount of training you have to do, it's not cheap. That's why socioeconomics play into it so much. Inner city kids don't know, there's a barrier to entry is not cheap. And if I keep trading like this, I'm going to have to go get a job at Uber to pay for her next set of cleats. Yeah. All right, I'm done with that. Yeah, so listen, so that tournament, the tournament we're playing in Tennessee, I think that tournament is like, for the team, I think it's $5,000 for the team to be there. Standard tournament every weekend, like just a rep tournament where you're going there for reps. You're going to pay, $750, but that's split up amongst the team. Yeah, it's so expensive now. I mean, travel sports has become a business. And they did there's a documentary on it. I think it was on ESPN. How and the guy did an analysis on the rate of return and what you're paying for lessons and gear, and what the rate of return might be, and how some parents are looking for a return on their investment. And I think that just like if that's your approach, you're just all, it's just you can't look at it that way. My objective, mine and my wife's objectives have always been, hey, have the kids play high school sports so that they don't get in trouble during those stupid years. And then if they want it after that, it's going to be up to them, right? They'll have to go put the work in. And so, fortunately, because I played and my wife was an athlete also, we get involved, and, we don't pay for much training. I pay for some though. Kids stop listening. Yeah, so I'm done for the morning team. I'm down a little bit over around 1K. I don't want to press it. Luckily, I kept everything small, onesies and twosies. Lots of probing orders, and this thing hasn't gone anywhere, man. Look, 37 points. So we have our 935. So our 935 high. Yeah, so this is the initial balance high. $76.10. And the initial balance low is $75.90. We broke it to the downside, have not been able to test up. We are testing lower high. We had the new spike down that got absorbed, came in, and then we put in a higher low. And now everybody like me that is trying to buy, looking for the breakout, the market told us that, hey, we're not ready to go yet. So let's just wait. And so here's why it gets even more risky now, at least from my perspective. Because anything in here, right, you've got it, they've already bought it twice, right? Look at all these wicks. Right? So if you come in here and you try the long, I mean, maybe you can try it in here somewhere. But just prepare to give it a wide stop. I think this low is good for the day, though. I really do. Maybe a back test in here around 2 o'clock. But I'm done for the morning. And I'm going to keep it. If I do trade anything else today, I am not going to like 4 or 5 or 6 contracts. It's too early in the week for that. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Unfortunately, I wish we would have had something better, but since that morning dip, 10:25, 10:20, it's now an hour and a half. We've been in a 7604. We've been in a 25-point range. Tried the breakouts from the middle. The worst idea I had today was when I thought, oh man, we're gonna sell a momentum short. Thank God I didn't do that. That would have been so dumb. All right, so that's gonna call it for me for today. Let me just make sure I covered all my bases here. Heads up. I'm not even looking at this. No, I'm not looking at it. I could care less now. I'm going to shut off my screen and write. All right, guys. So that's going to call it for me today. Remember, guys, a tradable market and a moving market are not the same thing, right? This market is moving, but it's just not tradable, right? And so before I ask where price is going, I have to ask myself, is any other trade worth taking? Or am I just going to start digging a hole for myself and get frustrated and get in my head? I don't want to do it. It's Monday, right? Who wants to start the week that way? Good setups lose value. Good setups are going to lose value inside of poor structure, poor context, right? You can have a good setup in here. It could look great, but the context is just telling me that to back off. And so I definitely want my trade frequency to expand and contract with the market's quality. Like again, I was having this conversation with David a few weeks on Friday, and I said, man, we were getting some really great moves, and then on Thursday and Friday, I barely traded because it was just a crappy market. So I had 4 small losses. They can be better. There can be better trading maybe later on this afternoon, but I don't want to be stubborn about it. I want to exercise some discipline. There's always another trade coming around the corner. So with that said, I am going to log off here. So one thing I know I mentioned again, I'm going to work on the clock workshop, as well as the Pitbull Traders giveaway. I'm going to meet with the team about that in a few minutes. So, all right, guys, thanks for your help. Thanks for your support this morning. Wish we would have had a better market to trade, but tomorrow's another day. All right, guys, take care. Hello. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, please. That'd be great. That'd be great. Thank you.